What's going on, guys? This is me, Pokeboy God 18, and we're going to be showcasing some Shadow Typhlosion battles in the Open Great League. Let's get right into it. Our first matchup here, we've got Shadow Typhlosion onto a Mantine. They're going to throw an Aerial Ace, so I'm going to shield that. They swap into their Annihilate. That's a great catch by them, by the way, because now they can no-shield that Thunder Punch. I'm going to throw one more Incinerate. That chunked hugely. Anyways, we're going to let their Shadow Ball go through. We might not be able to get a farm done before they get to their next one. So what I'm going to do is go for an Ice Beam here, forcing their shield. They do take the shield, which means they will take Switch. I don't want to keep Switch that much because once I get this last bubble through, I will be able to come into my own Annihilate and farm them down. In the back they have Trevenant, so they get one turn lag, which is kind of sad on Niantic's part. They let their Shadow Ball go through. I was thinking about swapping out, but now I'm just going to let them force their energy off, which is even better because I know I'm one off my Thunder Punch. And even though they have all that energy, they need a CMP tie before I make my Thunder Punch in order to get back-to-back, and then they will be able to win the game. But they don't have the energy for that. So Shadow Typhlosion takes out a Water type. In the next game, we see another Water type on the lead. Azumarill is going to be chunking really hard with these bubbles, but it is still a tricky Pokemon for the back line. This team, actually, I found it off of one of Jonkus' videos. I decided to try it out since I had a really good IV spread of Shadow Typhlosion, and I was like, you know what the heck. So, if you don't know who Jonkus is, definitely go check out his channel. He makes really good Go Battling content, especially for beginners. Anyways, they swap into their Trevenant. They give me a free bubble if you didn't see that. And that allows us to make this the last Ice Beam before we go down, which is important because now we can come into our own Annihilate and farm a second Ghost type. Now they come into they have a Sableye in the back, and they let the Shadow Ball go through, and they make a huge mistake here, and they keep farming up energy almost up to a return and play to a CMP tie that they do not win, and now it all comes down to the Shadow Typhlosion. Can the Shadow Typhlosion make 2 Thunder Punches before it gets farmed down by these bubbles? First Thunder Punch coming through, going through the shield, and we make the second Thunder Punch, which will be securing the KO against this Azumarill. Second Water type to be eliminated, and that's going to be GG. In the next game, we see a Skeletorge on the lead. 2 Fire types meet. I'm going to wait a couple turns to make sure they don't catch the Thunder Punch like the first opponent, since I just didn't really like it. I'm going to swap into my Azumarill now. We're going to take a Shadow Ball perfectly fine. It's a rank 4 Azu. We will be losing the mirrors, but that's why I have it as the safe swap. I threw a Play Rough automatically against their Charjabug. I thought they would be going for Discharge first, and I was like, I think I win CMP. But now it's going to be costing us this matchup quite a little bit, because now they can go for an X-Scissor instead of the Discharge, which means I have to sack my Typhlosion here. But I do get 1 Incinerate off, which is pretty cool because now I can come into my Annihilate and farm down their Charjabug. They do make one more move, but they should just be an X-Scissor. Yeah, it's just an X-Scissor. What do they have in the back? We know it's a Skeletorge, and it's a Titan. So the amount of carnage here that Annihilate is going to go through is insane. We get the boost first try, and they don't even shield it. They farm up to the Avalanche and bait, but it's not going to stop this. We farm down a third Ghost type with resisted counters, and they lose with 2 shields. Annihilate is insane. Beautiful lead and beautiful swap in the next match. I absolutely hate Vigoroth. I just hate it. I hate it. You can't change my mind. They should never even Rock Slide. Annihilate was introduced into the game to stop Vigoroth users from playing Vigoroth. Changed my mind. Anyways, after that hard counter swap, we're going to retaliate with our Shadow Balls and one more Night Slash here. They will have to throw a move before they get farmed down here. They should be going for a Discharge because an X-Scissor will not take out. And instead they go for an X-Scissor and then get for an energy lead with Goodra. And, oh boy. This is going to be one of the many Goodras you're going to see lined up against this Azu, and it is absolutely hilarious. Everybody and their mamas and their fathers and their brothers and their sisters had a Goodra, and it did absolutely nothing to my rank 4 Azumarill. even though it's under leveled by 1 power up. I'm just a couple XLs away, by the way. We double bait with these ice beams. All they need to do to win this game is to catch, and there's just no way they can make this catch because none of these Thunder Punches, none of the Dragon Breaths are going to be able to get me in farm down range, even if they just randomly swap and they do get the catch. I still have my Typhlosion in the back ready to throw a Blast Burn at it. In the next match, we're going to swap. We're going to counter their Gligar swap with my Azumarill because we have their Shadow Empoleon on the lead. I'm going to undercharge this Ice Beam, which is really important because I want them to reach 2 digs, meaning they won't be able to come in with their Empoleon and get a whole ton of energy, and because that Empoleon's energy is really deadly against Typhlosion and Annihilate. So I'm going to automatically throw this Ice Beam after their farm down. They will get at least 1 or 2 Steel Wings after they get the farm down, and then I'm going to come back into my Annihilate because these counters are going to chunk and I won't have to take shield pressure as much. They have their own Annihilate in the back, which is kind of scary because we are down a shield, but we get that shield back with this beautiful Night Slash bait. We're going to go for a Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball is going to be grabbing the next shield, and we have to call a bait here. This bait call is really important, and we do get the bait call, but they get the boost, which is really scary, but it's not going to help them in the long run because they only got off 1 counter, which means if they had gone for the second counter on better timing, we wouldn't be able to farm down their Empoleon, and they might have made 1 more move on our Annihilate, but that doesn't happen. GG's. In the next game, we have Shadow Typhlosion onto, what was it, Talonflame? Yeah. And then we're going to swap into our Annihilate, throw a Night Slash as soon as we get it, and we get another boost. And my Annihilate was just going off with these boosts. We perfectly farm down the Dugong, and we come out with residual energy to throw a Shadow Ball at the Talonflame coming back in. We are single debuff, but that means we are single boosted, and that does a huge truckload of damage onto the Talonflame, and the opponent just resigns. They're done. They're done. In the next match, we see probably a common lead in the future videos, I'm not really sure. But one of the great things about this matchup is that if they commit the shield after they grab 1 shield, that is the smartest play, but this opponent did not know that we make 2 Blast Burns before they make 2 Body Slams. So they give us a free shield and we take the lead switch, but things all turn around when they see that Zoomer right there because our backline is kind of scary against the Azumarill. We do get 1 more Thunder Punch off against the Azumarill, which is really important because mine is definitely going to be losing mirrors and CMP ties, which could be crucial in the back. So they have a Charge Bug in the back. This Charge Bug is going to go for an X Scissor. Double resisted X Scissor. That's pretty okay. We'll take that. We're going to shield their next move after we threw that Shadow Ball. It's just going to be an unfortunate shield on their end. We actually get Stutter Lag here too, which might cost us because now they can go for a discharge, but instead they keep farming up and play to another CMP tie, so the Stutter Lag worked even better because, well, it worked the same because we would swap out and have a health advantage anyway, but we do take that game. In the next match, we see a really funny lead. We actually get 1 turn lag right there, which actually gave them a free Shadow Claw, or a free turn of energy, which means that the timing would have to be reset on this Thunder Punch, meaning they would reach another Dark Pulse because we got 1 turn lag, because the turns were reset, turning my Incinerate from 5 to 6 turns, they would make another move, which is really bad. So now we had to swap into our Azumarill, take a Shadow Ball, and they have a Wigglytuff now. We grab a shield back, which is kind of nice. They were probably expecting Hydro Pump, but they don't throw their energy, so we make another player off, which is even better. I'll take that. I'm going to come into my Annihilate here. I'm going to hope they don't go for Disarming Voice, and they don't. They go for the Icy Wind, which is even better, because now they swapped into their Annihilate, and we have 2 Thunder Punches, ladies and gentlemen. These come in clutch because we grab at least 1 shield in this matchup and get at least 1 more Thunder Punch in here. Annihilate's going to be coming back in. We have to shield this move, obviously. It's going to be a Night Slash. I'd farm. It doesn't matter how much I farm up. I just have to throw this Night Slash and make sure they don't reach another one. Night Slash is going to come through, and because they didn't throw the Disarming Voice, we were able to take that game. In the next match, we see a perfect lead. The opponent plays really nicely and goes for the 3-turn to 5-turn charm, giving them a free charm, and then they swap into their Lickitung. We will still be able to flip this matchup, but I don't want to commit shields just yet. So I'm going to come into my own Annihilate. Take this Power Whip. I'm going to go for a Night Slash. Do we get the boost? Because the boost would be really cool here. And we don't get the boost. That's fine. They don't reach a Body Slam to force our shield. So what we can do is at least throw a couple energy. They make a mistake by not coming into their Ninetales here, because the Ninetales' charm would have taken us out. But the Spark nerf means that Lantern is not going to be able to farm us down in time, and we will make one more Shadow Ball. They make a better catch here onto the Ninetales. All we can do, try to get the farm down. They live with 1 HP, which is kind of annoying. But it doesn't matter how much energy that Lantern has. It's just going to be completely useless against the Azumarill, so that's a GG. Another thing that's weak to fire types on the lead, getting taken out in 3 Incinerates. And they go for the lunge because that's the smartest move. Because once you see this team, you're going to see why. They have a Whimsicott in the back, and their team was ABA weak to fire, with Scrafty being their only counter. They don't even farm up to the Moonblast, because the Moonblast would mean that we would reach a Shadow Ball a bit before them. So they go for Seed Bomb. I'm going to stay in, not throw a Night Slash, and force their energy off, because they still can't farm us down. We come into the Typhlosion. I'm going to shield this move. I don't care. I'm not throwing any energy. I know I'm going to win this game with Typhlosion. Farming down the Whimsicott, coming out with maximum energy. Going to grab the first shield with the first Blast Burn, and going to knock out with the second Blast Burn. That's going to be GG's in under a minute. Into the next match, we have Shadow Typhlosion against Gligar. And a really important thing here is that if they go for off alignment, I think the Shadow one is actually flippable by just farming them down, which is really insane. You could go for a bait here, but I didn't want to take that risk as I saw it as too risky. But it eventually paid out for us, because now we can go for another Blast Burn. Could go for another bait here, but it doesn't matter. We're going to grab a shield anyways. They come into a Charge-a-Bug once they swap out from their Annihilate, and we're just going to throw Play Roughs here. Charge-a-Bug's not going to have the greatest time, because they still have to throw some moves here. I have an Ice Beam loaded, so I might throw that as soon as I get to it. Nope, actually, okay. I was thinking about that, yeah. They throw another Volt Switch, and they're going to shield this move, meaning they're going to go for a farm down. I am going to sack the Typhlosion. It's completely useless now, considering I have almost no energy. X-Scissor is resisted and still takes us out. That's insane. They go for another X-Scissor, anticipating that there was like something weak in the back. I don't know. Another Grass type or another Charge-a-Bug. But now that means, even with that 1-turn lag, we can go for the Shadow Ball. Their shield's down. It's going to one-shot the Annihilate. We're going to farm down the Charge-a-Bug, and that's a good game. And in the next match, we have Typhlosion into Goodra. Horrible matchup. Horrible matchup. We're going to swap into our Annihilate. We're not going to threaten an Ice Punch, because that would mean they would still get the 1-turn extra, but we get a boost, actually. We get another boost. We're going to shield this Aqua Tail. They come into their own Shadow Typhlosion. Massive respect. I don't know who the trainer's name is, but I'll definitely go back and give them their respect. We get so much counter damage off because of that boost. They have to throw a move here, or we would take Switch, or it would be end up in the tie anyways. We're going to come into our Azumarill, take this Thunder Punch. We should be able to farm down. Yeah. Alright. Azumarill's coming back in. And what is going to be that lead again? Okay, they come into Skarmory. And this is really bad, because the Typhlosion is not going to have a great time going up against resisted damage against a Dragon type. And it would be better because now we don't have alignment. But get this. Shadow Typhlosion doesn't care about typings. No, it doesn't. Shadow Typhlosion farms down the Goodra and gets to back-to-back Thunder Punches to threaten the KO against Skarmory, so they just let it go. And ladies and gentlemen, Shadow Typhlosion just farmed down to Dragon type. In the next match, we see a better lead and the better Dragon type swap. And now we have better alignment, obviously, because we have our Fairy type aligned here. Not going to have the greatest time, but they aren't on Power Whip, which would do a little bit more damage, but it doesn't make the matchup any better. We're going to go for a play up here. We can go... I won't be going down any shields here. I just want to save shields for the Glacier backline. I think this was the matchup, yes. So I go for 2 play roughs. I believe I would have made it to 1 more Ice Beam if I had at least baited once or twice, or maybe if my Azumarill was actually leveled up correctly. But we're going to shield this move. They come into Shadow Gligar. Now, they still have a 3 Pokemon lineup. I'm going to sack the Annihilate. And they throw off alignment. Meaning we can fully farm down their Gligar, come out with 2 Blast Burns loaded, and Shadow Typhlosion nearly one-shots the tin can, shout out to Jamie Finn, and we reach another Blast Burn, and even resisted damage still takes out the Goodra. This thing is an absolute one-shot monster. In the next match, we see another giant tin can. Perfect lead. They swap into another Goodra. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like Charge-a-Bug, or I know Homeslice reposted that video about their core, but this one actually has Power Whip, which is kind of interesting. I think this was the only power-up one I faced, but in this matchup it's a bit different because they let their Goodra go down. What they do here is they come back in with their Registeel, which is really, really big brain, because what they should be doing is going for a Focus Blast, but undercharging it, just so that way they can get a lot of energy. I won't be able to flip this matchup because they know I'm on Play Rough, and you don't run Play Rough Hydro Pump anymore. Play Rough is going to be doing resisted damage, and they would be able to get the farm down, not before we reach 1 more Play Rough. But, ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness something incredibly sad. We get 1 more Bubble Off, and the opponent gets 1 turn lag, and they have a Trevenant in the back. They wasted the entire matchup farming up energy on the Registeel, and it just died. And now we have a gentleman's game here. 4 Shield Flex. Respect this trainer. Sorry that happened to you. Anyways, in the next match we have Shadow Typhlosion onto the Charge-a-Bug. They swap into a Land Turd. Yeah, and yes, that's a Land Turd. We're going to be going for a Night Slash here, fishing for a boost, and we don't get it, unfortunately. We're going to no-shield the first move, probably a Surf, probably a Thunderbolt. It's just the Surf, which is a little bit better. We're going to keep farming up, shield the next one. I know I want to take Switch here, so I'm going to be farming up a little bit more. I'm going to farm up right before their next Surf. I'm going to go for this Night Slash. They shield for some reason, meaning they play to a CMP tie, they do not win, giving us a free shield, which puts us in a much better spot. But they have a Feraligatr in the back. And Feraligatr is one of the most busted Pokemon because it can do so much in scenarios like this. We're going to be shielding the discharge coming from their Charge-a-Bug swap. It's actually an X-Scissor, which makes a whole lot of sense, because once they throw this X-Scissor, it won't be able to take us out, but the Charge-a-Bug would have been KO'd. We can make it to at least 1 more Thunder Punch. For some reason, they don't shield. We would not have made it to 2 Thunder Punches, but it doesn't matter. We end up winning that game. And in the next match, we have a Lickitung. Lickitung on the lead. So, same game plan as the last Lickitung. Just going to go straight for the Blast Burn. If they shield, it's good. And this one doesn't shield. So he clearly knows his matchups. For some reason, I got 1 turn lag and it ended up me giving them a free wing attack. They throw their energy anyway. Just really, like, thank you for that. Our Azumarill can hard counter this Gligar. We get a little bit of stutter lag there, but it doesn't matter. They have a Feraligatr in the back, which is really, really scary. This is really scary, because the Feraligatr is Shadow, which means it can put so much shield pressure and oppressive pressure onto the last remaining Pokemon. We don't get a boost either. We get 1 turn lag, not getting that last counter in. And does this mean we lose this game? We're going to come into the Azumarill, and Feraligatr is still going to be reaching this move, and it's going to be insane. Like, the pressure from this thing. And they're going to come into the Gligar. They need to farm us down or make a move. Azumarill is going to have to come in clutch here. We're 1 away from the Ice Beam, and we make the Ice Beam. The rank 4 Azumarill coming in clutch as we take that game and moving on to the next one. Another Dragon-type lead, Dragonair this time, so we're just going to go with the same game plan. Night Slash will be doing a little bit more damage since they're less glassy. They swap into Toxapex, so they should be going for Brine here. They will be winning this matchup, obviously. There's like no way I can flip this. Even Annihilate's not that broken. I do commit a shield because I do want to like maybe force a shield or maybe getting switched back. I will be making 2 Night Slashes, so we get a little bit of lag there. Actually, wait, I don't know why I went for that Night Slash. Okay, well, I'm going to come back into my Typhlosion, farm down the bulky Toxapex, and I'm going to swap immediately into the Azumarill and catch a Body Slam onto the Dragonair. Dragonair is going to go for their Resisted Aqua Tail. They have their own Shadow Typhlosion in the back, so I need to be very precise about this gameplay. I get a free Bubble in, which is huge, because now I can go for this Ice Beam, force 1 shield off, and hopefully they will only make 1 more Thunder Punch. They give me another free Bubble, but I think they're at back-to-back because it's 2-1-2. They go for Blast Burn for some reason. That's a huge misplay because now I can go for this Ice Beam. Ice Beam is going to grab a shield. I can stay in, force off their energy. They don't commit to their energy because they would have gotten Blast Burned, and that's just going to win us the game. I don't know why they went for Blast Burn, but that's a GG. Next match, we've got an Annihilate bleed here. It would be really fun if they went for off alignment timing. But anyways, they're going to throw a Night Slash. I'm going to swap into the Azumarill to respond with their Goodra. And now the Azumarill is going to have a pretty good time here. We are down a shield, which makes things a little bit more tricky. But I'm going to go straight for the play rough, and let's see what they're going to do here. Are they going to shield? And they do shield. So I'm just going to let this second Thunder Punch go. I can't take 3 Thunder Punches because of the Dragon Breaths, but it doesn't matter. We're still going to be able to make the 2 play roughs. Do they shield? They don't shield. So we do take switch advantage, which is really cool, because now they could come into their Annihilate, but instead they come into their Feraligatr, and I have to snipe with my Typhlosion's Thunder Punches. I anticipated them catching, and they did catch, so I make a kind of a misplay here. I undercharged too much because I wanted to give an energy to my Annihilate, and now my only win con is to call a bait, and I don't call a bait, so that matchup's going to be a loss on my end. I could have definitely played that better, but that's a GG. In the next match, I've got Shadow Typhlosion against Azumarill. Kind of lagging there. Was that 1-turn lag or just bad timing? We're going to throw the Thunder Punch and then swap, and they hard counter me with freaking Venusaur. And if you were Azumarill in this situation, you wouldn't want to be in this situation, because there's literally nothing Azumarill can do unless it shields 1 Frenzy Plant. But we do make the second Ice Beam, getting that mechanic, and we actually win switch because of that. So they're going to come into a Sableye here, but they're 2 shields up, which is really scary. Sableye's going to force a shield off with their Foul Play, and they snipe with their Azumarill, which is a huge play. That's a huge play, because now I have to go for back-to-back Thunder Punches, and their energy, their shields, they're all going to be saved for that Sableye in the back, and it's 2 shields up, and we have an Annihilate. There's just nothing we can do. I have to go for some kind of boost here. Boost might save us, but we don't get the boost, unfortunately. So this is going to end up in a loss. They're going to farm up all the energy. It's not going to matter. We lose this game. If we had made maybe 2 Night Slashes, or maybe have gotten energy off of their Venusaur, we would have had a chance, but that's just going to be a GG. In the next match, we have another Mantine lead. Let's see what the opponent's going to do in this situation. They're going to farm up, not the greatest timing, but I don't mind it. I anticipated them catching, and they actually tried to catch there, so that was really good that I anticipated that, because now we can come into what our Azumarill responds to their Shadow Whiscash with Play Roughs. This will be doing some pretty sweet damage here. Maybe get them into the red health, I assume. Red, yellow. Okay, they're going to shield. That's totally fine. We can still make 1 more Play Rough even if they go for a Mud Bomb. They're going to let that go, yeah. Now we can just let our Zoom World go down, and then we're going to come into our Annihilate and farm down. Yep, here we go. They could go for a Scald here, which would be really bad. They go for a Mud Bomb instead, which is totally fine, because now we don't have to get the chance at that debuff. I'm going to snipe with my Shadow Typhlosion against their Mantine, and I anticipated them catching, and they have a Shadow Alolan Ninetales! Not a Ninetales, a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. And they just got 2 Incinerates, took it down to 3% health, and we have back-to-back Thunder Punches, so we take that game. In the next match, perfect lead. Could not ask for a better one. They're going to come into a Talonflame. I should have probably threw one Thunder Punch because I knew it would make the matchup a lot easier. Maybe could have grabbed a shield, could have gotten some damage off, and then farmed him down. They're going to go for a Brave Bird, and now I'm kind of forced to throw a move because they would make a Flame Charge or another, maybe Fly, because that's like the updated moveset now. I don't know. But they can come into Skarmory now, and this makes the situation a little bit worse because they can get a lot of energy here. And Annihilate is weak to fighting in the back, so it would be really scary. We're going to come into our Typhlosion. They don't throw on great timing, but that's totally fine. They go for a Sky Attack. We're just going to throw the Thunder Punch straight away, forcing their energy off or their shield. They're going to shield, so I'm going to swap into my Annihilate. Do they go for Brave Bird? No, they don't. Which means I can come into the Annihilate, go for a Night Slash against their Trevenant because they tried to snipe me, but it ended up not working out. And we can come into our Typhlosion. We still have a huge health advantage because of the resisted Steel Wings. They're only making one move on the Trevenant, and they just used up all their energy on the Skarmory, which means Incinerate just takes us that win. In the next match, we have a really good lead. Typhlosion into Wigglytuff, and frame rates are dropping like crazy. We come into Annihilate against their Bastiodon, and then the game is over. I don't really know what happened there. I got some kind of notification or something. Not really sure, but never had that much lag in one battle. Anyways, in the next match, we see another Lickitung. Blast Burn is going to be coming through. If we get a shield, it's really good for us. And they don't shield, so that's totally fine. It's another Gligar. So this is similar to the team that we saw earlier that we took a slight clutch against. This one plays it a little bit better. We do reach one more Thunder Punch, which is kind of nice, because this gives us a little bit more damage, but now this time they have loaded energy on their Shadow Gligar, which means it would be really tricky for us. And now they have, it's the same team as before, double Shadow backline with the Gligar for Alligator. And now things are looking really dire here because we don't have 2 shields to protect us from 2 Hydro Cannons, and for Alligator is just really, really busted. Night Slash is going to come through. Is it going to do enough to get the Zoom to farm down? Their Hydro Cannon is going to come through. I can maybe get 1 or 2 counters off. I get 2 counters off. That's probably preferred. They will make one more move, but I think this is unfortunately going to be a loss because the Gligar has a lot of energy here. And yeah, Gligar's going to come in, Aerial Ace us, and that's just going to be a GG. Well, so unfortunately, going to lose that team a second time. But we did take the first one, so I'm pretty proud with that. They throw off alignment on the next match with throwing an Aerial Ace, and I'm going to catch a move once I reach max energy here. So Typhlosion is already up maximum energy, and they have a Skarmory in the back, which means they're trying to put away the Skarmory, not have it aligned against the Typhlosion, and knowing that it's on max energy, it will still have to farm down or reveal my third. So that's a really smart play by the opponent. They can also go for a farm down here, which might be better for them, because they can force some energy off. They're probably going to throw a move here. Yeah, they didn't want to get farmed down by the bubbles, which I completely understand. Now, I think I come into my Annihilate here. Yeah. They come into their Gligar, try to make one more move, but the counters just farm it down. They still have the Skarmory in the back. What do they have? Skarmory's going to come farm down, and it's going to be Annihilate in the back. And Annihilate is going to get one-shotted through 2 shields, and that's going to be a game. And should be the final match here. Yeah, it should be the final match. We're going to have Typhlosion on the lead versus Annihilate. Annihilate's going to go for a boosted Night Slash. Things are scary because now counters are chunking us. We're going to go for another Thunder Punch, and they make a really good catch onto the Bastiodon. And now I'm gonna swap. I'm gonna let my Typhlosion go down because I want to keep switch advantage. Just having that makes it a little bit better. We're gonna come into our Annihilate, probably farm the Bastiodon down. But I anticipated. I was like, Bastiodon, Annihilate. That probably a Shadow Victory Bell on the back. So I didn't want my Azumarill to be aligned with like no energy. So I decided to come into my Azumarill and farm down the Bastiodon. But it was actually a Dugong. This is also a very common team. I actually dislike it. I just Annihilate Dugong with like Bastiodon. That's like, that's disgusting. That's like, yeah. That's I can't even come up with words for that. That's just so annoying. But Azumarill's going to be coming in clutch here. Ice Beam's going to be coming through, and this game is basically over. So they're going to go for a Shadow Ball. I can farm up to a Night Slash and with a Shadow Ball, and that's going to be a good game. So if you guys do appreciate the content, be sure to like and subscribe, comment on the channel, and I will see you guys later.